Well, it's assisted suicide.
It's considered as murder.
Euthanasia is generally understood to be mercy killing. That's essentially what it means.
So the euthanasia literally means, it's from the Greek euthanos, which means good death. I think a lot of people aren't totally sure what that means. It means just somehow that you are making the person pass away or the pet pass away. The way that euthanasia typically works in animals and in humans, when it's the physician-assisted suicide or something along those lines, different scenario than for prisoners, that it is like prisoners with the death penalty, or just it's done a different protocol. But the drug that we use, either pentobarbital or secobarbital, it's literally an overdose of an anesthetic.
Well, John, I want to know how a man with only a few months to live decides to focus on one task, and you're focused on defeating Washington State's ballot initiative that would allow for so-called death with dignity, which is assisted suicide.
Morally, it's wrong. Yes, I would take that back. Morally, it's wrong to assist someone into taking their lives because it's considered as murder. Turn it over to God. Let God will give them the strength to do that. Even in death, God strengthens his people, even through death, the people that trust him. But when people, they get weak in their faith and their relationship with God, then they take those options. Those options does not come before a person that's really rooted and grounded in God as a Christian and their belief in God. They wouldn't take that option.
Well, I'm one of those people who is somewhat a target of the initiative, and I don't know how we as a society could really consider making doctors into killers.
I'm broad, you know. I'm sober-minded. I don't have. I wouldn't condone it, but I don't have to think. And I'm saying this in respect of, I don't have a feeling of how I would feel about it because I have my own perspective, you know. So choices are made, and we have a government that makes choices that, you know, usually most of the time we have to conform to them. Thou shalt not kill. In other words, we all have obligations for as living and dying, and it's appointed unto every one of us once to die. Then come the judgment. So I have not been put in a place or position to have to defend it or to condone it. The Bible says it this way. He says that God have given unto us life, and we are to live because there's an expectation of dying. And I want to live until I die, me.
Well, the Bible's viewpoint on suicide, some people, they'll tell you that you cannot be forgiven for suicide according to the scriptures. But on that point of view that you just asked me about, you know, mental illness or a person that's terminally ill that want to end their lives and stuff like that, the Bible never gives us a right to take our own life because we didn't give life. Only God can do that. And so from the Bible point of view, the Bible does not back up suicide. It does not give us a legal right to suicide. Yea, though I walk through the valley in the shadows of death, we can fear no evil, for thou art with us. He will forever be with us, even in death. That decision is for God to make, not man. When Jesus becomes Lord of your life, it's not about what you want, it's about what He wants. And so you have to live your life according to what He would have and what He says in His Word.
God give us life, and life and death is in His power, and we have choice. He give us that too. So it could be that, you know, a person come to an extreme where they feel is the only way that they can have peace within themselves. And I say that reverently because you don't know what push a person to a point.
I think that the people who are opposed to the idea of euthanasia are not entirely aware of what it entails. And I also think they're not entirely aware of what natural passing entails.
I'm not going to die with the fluid oozing out of my pores in my legs. I'm not going to weigh 200 pounds again. I'm not going to lose my hair again. I am not going to be humiliated with losing control of my bodily functions again. This will be tidy and, while not easy for my family, it's a lot better than the alternatives.
And if you have not been present when somebody passes away, you picture it happening the way it does in the movies and on TV, that someone just takes this last breath and they sigh and they close their eyes and they just slip away. And that is what euthanasia caused by pentobarbital or some kind of medicine tends to be. However, passing away on their own does not tend to go that way. That just existing is not enough for most people. Anxiety of hoping for an okay passing away is tough, and so being able to focus on the time you have, I think that people would be able to make the most of it instead of just hoping for the best and I don't know when it'll happen, I have no control over it. They can, you know, essentially like a bucket list that they can do the things that they want to do and they can spend time with family or go places they want, knowing, okay, when it gets really bad, I have this option, I don't have to worry about it, and who knows when that will be.
I've written them letters, so I'm thinking about, that's the other wonderful thing about this death with dignity. It gives me a chance to think about how I want to leave things with them at the end. The images. Sorry.
I do think euthanasia should be legalized everywhere in the United States. The states that have it legal right now seem to be doing fairly well with it. That there are obviously a lot of rules in place, and I know they have to have 2 physicians independently verify that it's a physical ailment, and I think the person has to have less than 6 months, maybe something along those lines, that there are a lot of criteria that have to be met in order to qualify to end their life. And I think that kind of having those regulations in place makes it where people talk about it's a slippery slope and, you know, gosh, legalizing it will mean everyone's just be killing themselves left and right. And I don't think that's the idea. I think it's really just in cases where there is no other option and this is the best thing for the person. I think legalizing euthanasia would do a lot of good. I think it would end a lot of unnecessary pain and suffering that people don't currently have the option to put an end to, that they just have to put up with it or cross their fingers and wait and hope that their loved one passes away.
It's not the role of the physician to tell a patient what to do. It is a partnership, and based on her value system and what she believes in, she needs to make the right decision for her.
That's exactly right, that if they have the option to be euthanized, then they'll feel in control. I would imagine that being in that state where you're either very sick or there's just a lot of things going on, you probably feel like you don't have control of much at all, and being able to control that one particular decision is probably is probably a much bigger impact than anyone not in that position would realize. I think that would do a lot of good for them emotionally to know that they have that control.
This is so easy. I wish people knew how easy this was.
Like you say, that slippery slope and religious reasons. I think there are a lot of people who would oppose it, but the other side of the coin is that if you don't personally believe in euthanasia for a person, you don't have to do it. And so, you know, if you think, I don't believe in that, and say my elderly grandparent doesn't believe in it either, we're just going to let nature take its course, then you don't have to utilize that option. And the kind of crossing your fingers and hoping that they'll pass away peacefully, I think a lot of people aren't aware of what natural passing entails. And when someone dies on their own, oftentimes it is not a peaceful process. And it really is, it's tough. It's tough to watch, and it's tough, I would imagine, to be the person going through it. And if people just want to go that route, if it's not part of their religion, if they think I'm opposed to that morally or religiously or whatever reason, then they don't have to utilize it. But I think it's nice to have the option for those who do believe in it.